In the beginning, Adam and Eve had two sons, Cain and Abel. They were the first children born into a world outside the Garden of Eden, a world that was both beautiful and harsh. Cain, the firstborn, worked the land. He was a farmer, dedicated to the soil, and spent his days cultivating the earth. He tilled the soil, planted seeds, and harvested crops. His hands were calloused from the hard work, and he took pride in the fruits of his labor. Abel the younger was a shepherd. He found solace in the company of his flock, guiding them through the pastures. He roamed the fields, watched over his flock, and lived a simple life. The bond he shared with his animals was deep and nurturing. They were brothers, bound by blood and the love of their parents. Despite their different paths, they shared a common heritage and a deep familial bond. Life was not easy after being banished from the Garden of Eden. The world outside was unforgiving, and they had to learn to survive in it. They toiled under the sun, sweat on their brows. Every day was a struggle, but they persevered, driven by the need to provide for their family. They prayed for good harvests, for the safety of their flocks. Their prayers were a reflection of their hopes and fears, a plea for sustenance and protection. Their lives were intertwined with the land, with nature. They understood that their survival depended on the earth and its bounty. They were learning what it meant to be human. Each day brought new challenges and lessons, shaping their understanding of life and their place in the world. One day, the brothers, Cain and Abel, decided to make an offering to God, each hoping to gain his favor and blessings. Cain, with his rough, calloused hands, gathered the fruits of his labor from the fields. He collected an assortment of fruits and vegetables, the produce of his hard work and toil. He carefully arranged them on an altar, a symbol of his hard work and dedication. The fruits and vegetables were placed haphazardly, reflecting his hurried efforts. Abel, on the other hand, with a gentle and thoughtful touch, selected the best lamb from his flock. He chose the finest, most unblemished lamb, a true testament to his devotion. He prepared it with great reverence and care, a sacrifice to the Almighty. Abel's actions were filled with respect and love for God. The smoke from Abel's offering rose high into the sky, a pleasing aroma reaching towards the heavens. It was a sign of his pure intentions and heartfelt devotion. God saw Abel's pure heart and his selfless devotion. He recognized the sincerity and love in Abel's offering. He smiled upon Abel, accepting his gift with open arms. Abel's offering was received with grace and favor. But Cain's offering remained untouched, the smoke thin and wispy, barely rising. It was clear that something was amiss. God did not favor it, for it lacked a pure heart. Cain's offering was not made with the same love and devotion as Abel's, and thus it was not accepted. Cain saw God's favor on Abel. His blood ran cold. Resentment coiled in his heart like a venomous snake. Why did God prefer Abel's offering? What had he done wrong? Cain's brow furrowed, his fists clenched. He felt anger burn within him, a fire that threatened to consume him. He looked at his brother, once so close, now a stranger. Jealousy whispered in his ear, poisoning his thoughts. Cain withdrew from his family. He wandered the fields, his heart heavy with unspoken anger. He could not understand. He could not forgive. Section 4. A Brother's Betrayal. One evening, as the sun began to set, Cain spoke to Abel. He lured his brother to a secluded field, far from the watchful eyes of their parents. There, consumed by his rage and blinded by jealousy, Cain struck out. The earth drank in the blood of Abel, a stain on creation. Abel's cry went unheard, lost in the vast emptiness. The flock bleated mournfully, sensing their master's absence. Silence descended upon the land, a chilling silence that spoke of a terrible deed. The first murder had been committed, a brother's betrayal. Section 5. The Mark of Cain. God called to Cain, his voice echoing across the fields, resonating with a divine authority that could not be ignored. "Where is Abel, your brother?" God asked, his voice filled with a sorrowful knowing. Cain, his voice trembling and his heart heavy with guilt, lied to the Almighty. "Am I my brother's keeper?" he retorted, his defiance masking his inner turmoil. But God, with his all-seeing eyes, knew the truth that Cain tried to hide. He saw the sin that stained Cain's soul, a dark mark that could never be erased. As punishment, Cain was cursed to wander the earth, forever marked by his sin. a restless soul in a desolate world. He would never again know peace, his nights filled with restless dreams and his days haunted by his actions. He would forever carry the weight of his actions, a burden that grew heavier with each passing day. And so, the story of Cain and Abel became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations. A reminder that jealousy and anger only lead to darkness, to pain and suffering, consuming the soul and leaving nothing but regret. A lesson for all time, etched into the fabric of human history, a warning to all who would listen.